and we give that to an individual, their employee, a gig worker, freelancer, Uber driver, what have you. And then you can use that bank account to receive money from whoever's paying you. Mm-hmm. And then those funds get converted into crypto at whatever percentage you want, and then delivered to your wallet or bank account.
Thank you to my sponsor, Cake Wallet, where you can store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero safely on your iOS and Android devices. MetalPay, how banking was meant to be. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Girl Gone Crypto. I have an awesome guest here today. I've got Jonathan Chestier, the co-founder and CEO of Bitwage. So Jonathan, thanks so much for taking the time to come on the show today.
Yeah, excited to be here.
So I've seen you guys around the cryptoverse and heard about what you're doing, and I think that what you guys are building of helping people to facilitate being paid in crypto is really cool. And so maybe just to kick off, give us a high-level overview of what Bitwage is and what you guys offer to kind of both the individual and to the business.
Sure, yeah. So we've been in the cryptoverse since 2014. So we've been here for quite a while. And we entered into the space really looking to try to solve the issue of people getting paid in crypto. We saw that there were a lot of exchanges and merchant processors and wallets that existed, but there was no real way to sort of close that financial loop so people who had crypto could actually use it as a business and then get it back into the hands of individuals or other businesses. So that's what we set out to do in 2014. And it's really morphed. And we now have two different kinds of products, one for companies and another for individuals. So for a company, the options are you can fund pretty much all of your obligations with crypto, with Bitcoin, with Ether, with Bitcoin Cash, with USDC. So maybe you have a bunch of employees or vendors around the world that need all or part of their wage in fiat. You can actually fund those obligations with crypto. Mm-hmm. Vice versa, where if you wanted to offer employees to get a part of their wage in crypto, you can do that. And you can fund it with fiat or crypto to do so. So that's the company side, and bundled in that is a Bitcoin 401k option that's still in beta. And then on the individual side, what we've developed is a way to generate a direct deposit account. This is in the US, in the Eurozone, or in the UK. And we give that to an individual, their employee, a gig worker, freelancer, Uber driver, what have you. And then you can use that bank account to receive money from whoever's paying you. Mm-hmm. And then those funds get converted into crypto at whatever percentage you want, and then delivered to your wallet or bank account. So some people are getting like 10% of their wage every pay period. Some people are just going 100%. And we see use cases both domestically, where someone wants to just receive a part of their wage in crypto, and also internationally, where people are using this as a cross-border instrument to get money into their accounts faster and cheaper. And so, for instance, in Latin America, people will use our service to get 50% of their wage in Bitcoin, 50% into their bank account, and we're doing that better than traditional banking systems there.
So what I think is really cool is kind of the ease of use through all of this. And so if I, let's say, was an employee, I don't know, let's say for Nike, and if I went to them and I was like, hey, can you start paying me in Bitcoin? They're probably going to say no. Where using Bitwage, can you just kind of walk us through that process of exactly how that works? So let's say me, employee at Nike, wants to start getting paid in Bitcoin. What would I do and what would the next steps be?
Sure. Yeah. So you come over to Bitwage, you'd sign up. And then once you sign up and are approved, you get a bank account number, right? So it's going to be a routing number and an account number. And then you go to Nike, and it kind of depends on what their payroll system is like.
Mm-hmm.
So some companies have a self-service portal where all you actually have to do is log into your payroll service portal, and you go and you upload your bank documents there, and you say, I want 50% of this to go to Bitwage and 50% of this to go into my checking account.
Mm-hmm.
And so then on the day of payroll, we'll get 50% of your paycheck. And then on our system, you can even say, I want 100% of that in Bitcoin, 50% Bitcoin Ether, or, it's particularly volatile. I didn't get to change it with my payroll provider in time. So I want 90% dollars and 10% Bitcoin.
Right.
So that's one way to do it. Of course, if your employer doesn't have a flexible payroll system, you might have to talk to your HR manager, or might have to talk to someone at the payroll company that they're using. But that's the only other extra step.
So, what does the fee structure look like for this? Because one thing I'm kind of wondering is this mainly like an convenience thing? Because if, let's say, I get paid in fiat, 100%, again, from Nike, I guess we can just keep using that example. Like, instead of me going and buying, let's say, 10% of my income in Bitcoin, is Bitwage basically just a facilitator that adds convenience, or is the fee structure kind of competitive to me doing that? Can you kind of walk us through basically the why for using Bitwage?
Sure. Yeah. So for the specific use cases of someone who's working for Nike, the main competitive advantages that we have will be that because it's so easy that you set it up once and you never have to think about it again,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's just like the core use case. A few other things are that it's very fast. So when you're going to buy on an exchange, for instance, you actually have to wait for the funds to get there, or when you buy the funds, maybe they'll give you the price, but they won't actually let you access the money because the money is stuck on the exchange for like 3 days or 4 days or whatever. So for us, we get the money, in our accounts the same day that you get the money in your account, which allows us to take the funds, convert it into crypto, and send it wherever you want. So you're getting access. If you're a premium user, you're getting access same day. If you're a non-premium user, you're getting access next day to your funds. So it's faster access, and also it allows you to actually do it on a percentage basis on your income. So other systems, you can only do it in sort of flat amounts, but a lot of people like to think of, I want 1% or 10% of my net worth or my net income in crypto, and this is pretty much the only way to do that. And the last thing is, we're not custodying the funds. We're not even incentivized to custody the funds. We want it in your wallet, and that creates a layer of security, because we're forcing you to learn how to be your own bank, right? And there's no like central spot for a hacker to come and hack an exchange and take all the funds. There is no crypto, being custodied on Bitwage. So it sort of makes you as the user have a better security standards, better privacy, and whatnot.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a question I had, was if the Bitcoin was sent to a kind of custodial, like Bitwage wallet or app, but really people can just say, hey, here's my, ledger, here's my whatever address. And so you guys never custody the Bitcoin, is just immediately sent to the address of their choice. Okay.
Exactly. And also so with Bitcoin specifically, we have a function where you can put in multiple addresses. So what that allows it to do is every time you get paid, it cycles through a different address, up to 100 addresses, which is very important for privacy's sake, because you don't want a lot of money going to the same address over and over again, because it becomes sort of a target for someone who's analyzing the blockchain.
Oh, that's awesome that you guys offer that feature. And not only that, but you had mentioned earlier about being able to split between different coins. Maybe, so maybe I'm getting 10% of my income, but then I want it 50% here, 50% there of that 10%. So what coins do you guys support? How many different options do people have? Are you guys looking to add any new ones? What does that landscape look like?
Sure. Yeah. So right now we offer Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and USDC. So we haven't really taken a broad range or a broad gambit, and I think that's mostly because when people are thinking about slowly accumulating dollar cost averaging crypto, they're usually more looking, more conservative, you could say,
Right.
when it comes to crypto, right? Because yeah, you might want to buy something more risky, but you might not want 5% of your paycheck in some kind of, altcoin that only, 1% of the crypto space even knows of.
So earlier you had mentioned, like international transactions, which seems like that would be a huge kind of gamut of the spectrum of people that are interested in using Bitwage. Is, getting paid internationally is such a headache and a hassle. Is that a big part of the kind of Bitwage customer that you see, or from a demographic standpoint, do you have a lot of people in the U.S. or where are you guys kind of mainly operating?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say that out of our top five countries where people are receiving money, three of them are a international use case.
Mm-hmm.
And the top two are exclusively an international use case. So and this is because, let's say you're in the US, you usually don't want 100% of your wage in crypto. You want
Right.
5, 10, 20%, if you're really bold, 50%. But on the international use case, there are some additional advantages, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the money can actually be more efficiently put into your bank account means that people want to put their entire wage through us. Some people actually prefer Bitcoin to their own local currency. And some people believe that if they get Bitcoin, they'll be able to sort of play the exchange rates better. So, we get a lot of people in Latin America, the biggest countries over there: Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, the Chile also. So we get a lot of people who are receiving their payments over there, and a lot of these countries have not very good financial systems, have not very good currencies. I mean, Argentina is really having a lot of issues right now because of coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows the case of what's going on in Venezuela as well. So for these people, our service almost acts like a lifeline, right? Because the amount of money that they would be getting otherwise is 5, 10, 20% less than going through us, and with way less bureaucracy, they can get the funds in their accounts saying the next day, and oftentimes in these countries you're talking week, 2 weeks before you get your money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, especially, like you mentioned, all of the economic instability in some of those countries. And, there's not a whole lot of trust in the banking system and the current financial systems over there right now. I mean, I think we have, issues here in the U.S., but it's looking very different here, in Argentina and Venezuela and countries like that. And so another thing that I want to kind of pivot and talk about a little bit more is this 401k feature that you guys are building. Because I think that this is something that we're seeing a lot of interest in the market right now. Like obviously Grayscale is a huge company. You got their GBTC, I think, and they recently launched, I think, GLTC and various options to be able to invest and do 401ks and things like that. What, just kind of break down what exactly you guys are building and how that would work.
Sure. Yeah. So it's already live.
Okay.
So we already have funds in 401ks. I call it a beta because we're limiting the number of customers that we're
Got it.
bringing on board. There are a lot of intricacies involved around the IRS and Department of Labor regulation. But basically, we're working with a particular company called Leading Retirement Solutions. And they are a 401k administrator and record keeper. What we've built with them is the capability for them to hold and store and record keep specifically Bitcoin inside of a 401k. So what does that mean? It means you have all the typical advantages of a 401k with the ability to invest directly in Bitcoin, right? One difference between GBTC and this is that GBTC is kind of like a share,
Right.
that tries to mimic the price of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
But in this system, you're actually holding Bitcoin directly with a custodian. We don't have the ability for you to hold it with your own keys yet,
Right.
But it's a Bitcoin that's being directly held for you, as opposed to some kind of share that's trying to mimic the price of Bitcoin. So in a 401k, a lot of people don't actually know like what a 401k does. So there's two kinds of 401k that people like to use. You have a traditional, which is
Mm-hmm.
the ability to use pre-tax dollars to invest. So you get more money up front to invest. And then when you withdraw it in the future, when you're retired, you're getting charged a tax on the funds as income.
Right.
So you're kind of betting that in the future you're going to have less income than you are now, so you're going to get less taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the more interesting thing here is a Roth 401k,
Definitely.
which is the funds go in after taxes, but you actually pay zero taxes on any of the capital gains once you withdraw it. So it's, a Roth 401k is one of the only ways that allows you to not pay taxes legally in the United States on your capital gains. And it's definitely the best way to put the most in, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there is technically a competing tax incentive structure called an IRA,
Right.
but that only allows you to add up to I think it's like $5,500 a year, and a 401k actually allows you to add up to 10 times that amount a year. So you can really contribute a lot in it. Of course, one of the big differences between an IRA and a 401k is an IRA you can completely do by yourself. And with a 401k, a company actually has to offer it as a benefit to you. So I think that is actually probably one of the slowest parts of adoption, because people, the workers want it, but it's hard to necessarily convince the companies to offer it.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh, that was such an interesting overview. I'm such a nerd about all this stuff. I love digging into different 401k, IRA stuff. And so it's fun to get to chat about this with you and to really hear more about the option you guys are holding and the fact that you are actually owning Bitcoin through those funds versus, like you're saying, with Grayscale, where it's, that kind of mimicking the price of Bitcoin. And so, Jonathan, it's been so fun to get to chat with you. I feel like we could keep going forever. There's so many interesting aspects to all of this, but I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the channel and just kind of talk through what you guys are building and what you guys have built over the years. Being a crypto company since 2014 is something that not a lot of companies can say right now. And so,
Sure,
Jonathan,
yeah.
if people want to check out Bitwage, where should they go next?
Yeah, you can go to bitwage.com, and you can see our website. If you want to reach out to our team, we also have a Slack group. You can just go to slack.bitwage.com. So, we're fairly active there, and we have a fairly active community. So I think those are the two best places to check us out.
Awesome. Well, thanks again so much, Jonathan. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.